welcome to NAPOD, where we provide NA speaker meetings and workshops in a podcast. We are an ad-free podcast, and if you enjoy listening, please help us to be self-supporting by visiting napod.xyz, look for the donate link, and drop $1 or $2 in the virtual basket. If you're also in AA or have friends that are, please tell them about our other podcast, Sobercast. Sobercast features AA speakers and workshops in the same format as NAPOD. We upload a new speaker every day, and it's easy to subscribe by searching for Sobercast, that's 2 words, on any podcast player app, or go to Sobercast.com. Enjoy the podcast, and thanks for listening.
All right, this workshop, the first speaker to come up will be speaking on We Do Recover, and that's Clarence K from Cincinnati.
I'm an addict. My name is Clarence. I'm glad to be here, and I need to first put a hit on my disease. And in order to do that, for me right now, I'm just going to say that we are all miracles. We all came through that jungle. We survivors, and we do recover. I'm going to go straight to the point of we do recover, where it says obsession, a fixed idea that takes us back time and time again to our particular drug or some substitute to recapture the ease and comfort we once knew. Compulsion, once having started the process with one fix, one pill, or one drink, we cannot stop through our own power of will. Because of our physical sensitivity to drugs, we are completely in the grip of a destructive power greater than ourselves. When at the end of the road, we find that we can no longer function as human beings, either with or without the drugs. We all face the same dilemma. What is there left to do? It goes on to say that, in other words, we made a big old mess of our lives. We tried in a variety of ways to kill ourselves, but we was unsuccessful. And my own personal story was, I got introduced to this, to the substances at the age of 11. It ain't nothing that I'm proud of, but it's my story, it's my journey. And that journey took me to some dark places, but at the same time, it delivered me here. And I would have never gotten here if it wasn't for the dope. I would have never gotten here. My life took a whole lot of, I can remember being kicked out of the military, walking away from a child that was 6 months old. And when I first got here, first thing I wanted to do was try to stop using. But y'all know the old cliche. If I got $1,000 in my pocket, I ain't gonna go just spend 20. I'm gonna do every bit of it. That's the nature of this deadly disease. We can't do no kind of controlled using. It's not even possible. And I tried on a lot of occasions to do just that, to try to continue to be a productive member of society. Now, I'm real glad of my 6,145 days that I've been here, because that's a time in which it took for me to get here and then stay here. It's one thing to get here, but boy, it's something else to stay here. Because of the wreckage of our past, we create hurricanes, tornadoes, whirlwinds, and tsunamis. Right? And at some point in time, you got to clean that up if you want to stay here, because those issues will cause you to go backwards. I'm on a journey going forward. I don't have the time to look back over my shoulder. I know what I've done. But I hope that my story will help somebody else stay here, because we go through a whole lot while we're here. And using today, just for the day, using, man, is not the issue. Because I've come from a place where I know that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. And as long as I don't put one in me, I hope this is a hope shot. It's a hope shot. for anybody who here who might be straddling the fence, who think that they might not, is this the right place for me? I know it's the right place for me. Let me tell you the reason why. When I woke up this morning, I didn't have no desire to pick up one. Last night when I laid down, you know what I'm saying? And I woke up this morning after I found out that I was going to be doing this at 6:25 last night and had to go to work and still do what I had to do at work and then get off from work and come up here. And it ain't nothing like giving away what was so freely given to you, because we can't keep it. It ain't mine anyway. I spend a lot of time, the treatment center that I went to is called the Cat House. And it stands for the Center for Chemical Addiction and Treatment. And I still go back to that facility today, you know, just to carry a message, to give somebody that hope shot, who think that they've made such a wreck of their lives that they can never recover from this seemingly hopeless dilemma. Man, look here, if a dope fiend like me can do it, anybody on the planet with the desire, because that's all we have. That's all we have is a message. And it's a message of hope that can go to anybody who has that desire. And that's what it takes. As long as you don't put desire and opportunity together, you got a chance of staying here. We know what it takes. We know how to go out there and attempt to kill ourselves. And guess what? If we were supposed to have been dead, we'd already be there. And I know everybody in here know at least one person who the horrors of this disease has taken out of here. Just for the day, we are blessed, man. We're blessed. I wouldn't have never thought that I'd be in Columbus, standing up in front of a podium, in front of a bunch of sick individuals just like me, trying to tell them that just for the day, they don't never have to use no more for the rest of their life. You know, that's the hit. That's the hit. Because based on the evidence, based on the misinformation that I got, see, I remember somebody telling me when I was 11 years old, it was cool. It was fun. I remember somebody telling you, so-and-so got... Go see Lug Nut and go see Skillet. Because they got the killer. And what did we do? We go looking for the killer. You know, whatever it was, whatever your particular allergy was, you went to try to find it. And most of the time when you found it, it wasn't quite what you thought it was going to be. Trick no good. I got hoodwinked and bamboozled so many times that it wasn't even funny. I mean, y'all, we can all relate to picking up everything that looked like what we was looking for. You know, I'm talking about, I know I was Dirty Dingus McGee. I would rob your ass and help you look for your shit. I didn't have a problem doing it because my disease told me this is what I needed to do to survive. And I was willing to do whatever it took. Whatever it took. You know, prior to getting here in 96, I think I had 15 jobs in 1 year. So I'd keep one long enough to get a paycheck and a half, and it was a wrap. You know, and it got to the point where I couldn't get no more. No more job. Man, we ain't hiring you. Your track record say you ain't employable. Lost everything. When I say everything, everything. But thanks to this process, this fellowship, and just doing what I know I need to do and getting the encouragement from the men in my life, I've been able to get everything back and then some. Most of all, my life. You know, the question I ask myself all the time is, what's the best thing about living clean? How about just being here to live it? How about just being here to live it? Because based on the evidence, it's somebody out there right now dying as a direct result of this thing. It's trying to stop and can't. Look here, the babies don't matter. I got disconnected from my daughter when she was 6 months old. She's 28. But let me tell you how this process is. My mom's got a call in 2012 from somebody in Akron, Ohio, that she didn't even know. I sure didn't know him. They told her that I'm looking for a Clarence K, Kenny. his daughter trying to get in contact with him. I spent Thanksgiving with my daughter. 27 years, 6 months ago. Ain't God good? So whatever your aspirations are, whatever your desires are, it don't matter. If you had a presence of mind to just keep putting one step in front of the other, everything that you've done can be undone. Those lost, they talk about the lost dreams being awakened. New possibilities arise. But you know what? You got to stay here long enough to let that seed germinate and grow. People come in and you know, you got to do the sponsorship thing. Somebody got to guide you. You got to get busy with that pen and paper. You got to look here, peel away the layers of that onion. Huh? You ever peel the onion? You ever cut one? Layers, 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 layers. And you know, you say, well, some of this stuff I forgot about. But you only forget about them to remember them so you can help somebody else. It ain't even about me no more. It's about who coming up behind me that I can help. You know, sometimes you hear people going through them struggles, and we all do. We all do, because we all went out and what the text say, we all bought our destruction on a time payment plan. At some point in time, you got to pay the piper. You got to go back and undo. Boy, to sit down with another human being and disclose all of that sick stuff, it's crazy, but it's freedom. And freedom from active addiction, man, is a price, boy, that you look here, it's better than gold. You can have all the money in the world and be just as miserable. You know, boy, look here, I'm a poor motherfucker. But you know what I got? Freedom from that monkey. That monkey ain't up on my shoulder telling me what to do. Getting me up in the middle of the night, having me walking down the street. Boy, look, you know, I can remember walking down the street with a brand new pair of Nikes on and coming back in my socks. That disease will tell you to do anything, and boy, look here, you gonna do it. You ain't gonna even hesitate to do it. Oh, man, I got this nice car, man. Look here, why don't you let me use your car for a couple of hours? I'll bring it back. Time you see your car, it's on bricks. You know? Thank God, man, that we ain't there. Because wherever you was and however ugly it was where you were, boy, it ain't nothing like being over here. When you have lost the desire to use and have found a new... Wait a minute, hold on, let's get to the message. Our message says what? There's 3 parts to that message. It says, any addict can stop using drugs. Lose the desire to use. And boy, it's that third part of that message that, boy, that, look here, that rings a lot of people's necks. Find a new way to live. Which means I got to do some work. I got to get busy. Because those things I want to keep, I'll take to my grave, put you in your grave. Because through your own self-deceit, boy, look at you would drive yourself nuts. It ain't even worth it, man. I done cleaned out my, but look at, life is good. Life is good. And I talk to my sponsor a lot, you know, and he knows my dilemma that I was dealing with in this relationship area. I couldn't let go of something that was, look, I'd been in it long past the expiration date. And when I say long past, I'm talking about 9 years past. And I couldn't let go. And he got sick and tired of me calling him up talking about whang. Right? And all he could do is say, whenever you get sick and tired, you'll do something about it. The material things, that was the hardest thing for me to get with. The material things. You know, and when the time came, God, look, here's me, once again, with one of my dilemmas. And I stepped out there on faith. That belief that whatever I embark on, it may be ugly on this side. But boy, when you come through that storm and see the beauty on the other side and realize that there is no price for peace. You can't put a price tag on peace of mind. Knowing that you ain't got to get up in the morning and deal with chaos, drama, mayhem. Because today I have a choice in my life, man. I have a choice to stand for something or just fall for anything. And I ain't trying to fall for anything today. Knowing that this disease I suffer from and is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it will come at me in all kinds of ways and tell me that nonsense make good daggone sense. And I'll embark on it too. I will entertain the thought until I play it all the way through and see that, because everything, just about everything we do on the negative side got a consequence. Whether you like it or not, it's a consequence up in there somewhere, and sooner or later you're going to feel the heat. Man, I ain't got to scrape my butt no more. I ain't got to run my head in that wall no more. I know one thing's for sure and two things for certain I ain't going to use. And I thank God that there's a place like this that exists where I can come and boy, look at here and back that thing up, because I know I ain't by myself. There's a lot of people up in this place that's got the same general idea. They don't want to use. They don't want to die in the horrors of addiction. They don't want to die. And I ain't trying to look here. I'm not trying to be one of them. I've been there. Tried all them different kinds of ways. But I thought I was a licensed chemist. But unfortunately, people choose to put that lab coat back on. I ain't going to say relapse. They just go out there and just continue. Pick up where they left off, only to find out that shit don't work. It just does not work. The only way to keep from returning to active addiction is not to take that first one. That's what it's saying here. I love this little thing, this little book, because it tells me about me. Well, look, when the first time I read Who Was an Addict, who walking around with a video camera behind me, filming me, my self-centered butt. But you know what? Everybody can identify with that story. Because if you was an addict and you walked up in here, boy, look at here, that's you. That's you. The things that we did to try to get one more, and had the audacity to put the word fun on the back of it until it became necessary for survival. When we started doing just about I'll never do that. And the very thing that you said you'd never do, boy, you did it a bunch of times. Not just once. Because after you do it once, you get to feeling good. And you get real good at it. And you find yourself caught up in your morals, your values, everything been compromised. Everything been compromised. I remember my family, man, my family used to see me come and look, I wouldn't even call them. I couldn't even call them on the phone. No, don't even try that one. So I try to creep up they be looking out the window, they see me coming, they turn off all the lights. Don't answer that door. Because if he come up in here, he going to leave with something that ain't his. Today I got keys to everybody's house in my family. I got keys to my job, but don't feel like me. And I show up. This is the crazy thing. I show up before everybody else get there. And they say, you think you can do this? You think you can do that? Yeah. This is an awesome program, man. What you got to do, though, first of all, give yourself a break. I think the very first thing that I read in that basic text was it said many books have been written about the nature of addiction. This book primarily deals with the nature of recovery. If you are an addict. I don't know, it might not be no addicts in here. And you done found this book, give yourself a break and read it. Because you're going to find you over in there, and then it's going to give you a roadmap on how to correct your craziness. Because we was all at one time or another completely loco. And we thought we had all of the answers. Only to find out that we was living in a world of disillusion, chaos. We found a way out. And something so simple that could save my life regularly. I like what, in the just for the day, there's one particular date in there that always has stayed with me for 17 years. Whenever my sponsees call me and they toe up from the floor up about the actions and behaviors of another person, I send her, I redirect the whole thing. Go there. We ain't got to talk about it no more. Just go there. Read that, carrying the message, not the addict. Because it says they can be analyzed, prayed over, locked up, and beat down by the addict who do not want to stop. Who ain't ready yet, who has not got to your point, won't stop. Won't stop. Unfortunately, due to this deadly nature of this disease, people have to die to get a wake-up call. To get a wake-up call. I'm just glad, man. I'm just glad that today I don't have to be down on that couch looking. I can get up in the morning and thank the God of my understanding for another day of living of not being in the horrors. Because it was a horrible existence out there. And I don't care how you, early on, yeah, it was fun. It was pretty. It was a beautiful thing. It gave you that gave you the ability to do a lot of things that you thought you couldn't do. Only to find out that once you got over here and got yourself kind of straightened out, you're able to do anything you want. I see addicts go. I remember me and the addict, we invited the addict out of the killing field down the way. This addict just looked out of place. He just looked like he wasn't supposed to be over there. Pulled him out of there. That addict went on to get a PhD. Came back to the meeting with the basic text in some old crazy language. Seen a lot of addicts get education. All because they chose to stop putting that poison in. You know, we can lose that illusion of it being fun, because that stuff stopped being fun a long time ago. It stopped being fun a long, long time ago. It says in here, when at the end of the road, man, we find that we can no longer function as a human being, either with or without the drugs. Everybody in here faced the same dilemma. What is there left to do? You know, go on to the bitter ends, jails, institutions of death, or find a new way to live. Thank God we all was able to find, somebody helped us to get on the route to find a new way to live. We ain't arrived yet. I ain't trying to arrive, y'all. This stuff too good for me to arrive. It can't get boring. It can't get monotonous. It can't get routine. You know, I hear a lot of addicts, I've heard a lot of addicts over the course of the last year with substantial clean time say they don't think this is for them. Ain't that the complacency that tends to show up sometime with addicts with a substantial clean time? Oh, I don't need y'all no more. I have arrived. But then you see them again. Look at here. They looking like Count Dracula. Stick a fork in them, they wouldn't bleed. The Walking Dead. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All because I went upstairs without adult supervision and figured I had this thing all worked out. And the only thing I got was another beat down. I mean, I look at it, let me tell you something, I ain't got to get my butt kicked today. Not in that realm. I've learned that listen here, it's a lot of work to get one. It takes too much work. I work hard enough without having to go out and attempt to find fun in all the wrong places. You know, I mean, you remember being out there walking in 2 o'clock in the morning, hoping you find somebody behind the tree who had something that you thought you wanted. And then you got fleeced. And then you was mad. Then you had to go spend some more. Don't let it be your last $5. You really tore up. Don't you know you ain't got to deal with that no more? That's a history. That's something you can go tell somebody else. Yeah, I was just like that. I was just like you. Just for the day I have lost the desire to use and I've found a new way to live. And it's only through Narcotics Anonymous that has came about. Diligence. Come hell or high water. There ain't been no reason for me to use. Boy, I done lost a wife up in here. I done lost a whole countless family members. Ain't nothing been good enough. Nothing been good enough. Because if I lose, if I use, I lose. And I may lose my life. When they talk about one is too many, okay? What the book say, 1,000 is never enough? Look at here. That means I don't care how much money you got, it ain't going to be enough before you find yourself in those precarious positions again, walking up in the store trying to take something that don't belong to you. And he ended up down at, I don't know if they got a justice center up here, and I'm sure they do. End up on lockdown, sleeping on a metal bed, trying to figure out what they're going to do to me because I went out and acted a fool. I thought I could take. This process eliminates all of that. It takes all that out the sequence. It don't have to be no more. We just have to have the fortitude to keep moving forward and not, because, we spend a lot of time. Y'all can remember driving down the road if you was legal. Driving down the road, you driving forward, but you spending most of your time in the rearview mirror. Yeah. And then don't let him turn the lights on 5 cars back. You know he on you zip right on over and he going around and you go, whew. Now you knew you were dirty anyway. And what would he find if he would have pulled you over until he acted? Thank God, man, we ain't got to do that. Them days over. Becoming a productive member of society, boy, is a beautiful thing. I think the first job, I remember I had this job at White Castles. Boy, I was so glad for that little job. It was the first one for a long time. I told you I had 15 of them in 1995. And then I had to go back and get my L's again, all over again. Because, listen here, I would get tickets, what do you call it? IWW. Intoxicated while walking. They want to lock me up for walking down the street because they see me doing stupid stuff. I'm trying to walk on the curb. Yeah, we know you already messed up, cuz. Come on, go with us. We got a place for you. I remember calling the ambulance, and we do recover, man. I remember calling the ambulance, telling them I was crazy. I needed to go to the 8th floor at the VA hospital. And the first thing they said was, do you do drugs? No, not me. Not I. Would you give us a urine sample? No, I ain't got to go. We'll wait for you to go. An hour later, they come back and they say, boy, you need help. We found everything in your system but the kitchen sink. Everything. Everything. I'm surprised you are able to walk. We were the walking dead, for real. But there was a power greater than us that saw fit for us not to die, but to be here to be able to give this thing away to somebody else. For somebody needing it. And you can best believe you stay around here long enough, you're going to get your turn. You're going to get a chance to help another suffering addict, whether you like it or not. The right one coming. The right one coming. I mean, my sponsee man was just like me. And I remember my sponsee tried his best to get another addict. That addict directed him to me, and I said, oh, my God. Because it was just like me standing in the mirror looking at me. To transparency. I was like, oh, my boy, where did you come from? But who am I to do what I can do? That's all I can do. All I can do is tell you my story. And if you can relate, if you can get some hope and go from a hopeless dilemma to getting some hope from a useless way of life to getting some usefulness in your life, then you're on the right path to help somebody. That's pretty much it for me. I'm just an addict, and I'm glad that I was asked to come and do this. I do know that we do recover. if you stay here, you will too achieve all of the gracefulness that the God of your understanding has in store for you anyway. We just got to stay lined up to receive it. Because, we tend to get off square, get off center, and take back our own will. And every time we do, man, that man with that baseball bat on the other side of that door that they told you not to go visit, we go visit him. Get that wig split and we come back. Help me, please. Help me, please. And check it out. Every time you come back and holler, help me, please, somebody there for you. Thank God I've never had to have a clean date change. When I got here, I was done. Tell me what it is you want me to do, because I don't want to die. Not in the horrors of addiction. They finding folks all kind of ways down there. I don't want to make that John Doe list. No. I know the day that I don't have to make that list. I don't go in. Look here, I have totally changed. Well, you can count on your hand the people that I associate with. All them folks them fair weather folks. I see them, all I can do is just, how you doing? Gotta go. Because if don't nothing change, then don't nothing change. And if I keep on doing the same old thing, the second step talks about doing the same old thing and expecting a different result. Most of the time, the results are the same. Scarred up, banged up, swole up, and feeling real stupid. Because of my inability to accept personal responsibilities. Most of the time, I was creating my own problem anyway. Because somebody told me, yeah, man, it's good. They didn't tell me it might kill me. They just said it was good. And once again, I fall for the okie doke, but thank God today I ain't got to get bamboozled or hoodwinked. Not through this thing, not through the power. See, we've been given the power of choice. Man, I try to make normal decisions. I don't outstep my boundaries. I know my limitations. Above all things, I'm not going to use no dope no matter what. I'm an addict named Clarence. Thank y'all for listening.
All right, we'd like to thank Clarence for sharing. And we're going to go ahead and move right on to the next speaker. And his topic is, I am in recovery. Am I in recovery, or am I just hanging out? And that next speaker is Kenny W. from Columbus, Ohio.
Hello, family. I'm an addict. My name is Kenny. I'm in the process of recovery from the disease of addiction. I got my warning a little ahead of time, and so I put some work in. Because I believe if you ask me to do a workshop, it's going to involve some work. Okay? My topic is, am I in recovery, or am I just hanging out? Okay? Let me go here for a second. Am I in recovery? The definition for in, based on the dictionary, says limited by the scope, surrounded by. Okay? Am I in recovery? Recovery means to get back something lost or stolen. That's very simple, man, because, when you think about, or when I think about if recovery is necessary, some things had to happen to make it necessary for me to get some recovery. Kind of like when people they have surgery, they have to go to the recovery room. They've been cut on. Now, I ain't going to get to the cut on part yet when it comes to recovery process, because the disease of addiction in the streets kicked my ass, right? And so when I got here to the process of recovery and I heard people talking about this recovery piece, man, I knew it was something I wanted. I needed to get in within the scope because I was tired of the person I had become, man. Listen, let me back up for a minute, right? When me and my wife got here, I was sitting into the opening speaker. And my wife asked me, how am I doing? And I said, oh, I'm fine, right? But then I had to reach back over and tell her, I feel real crazy, right? I feel real crazy, man. And lately, man, listen, I've been working my ass off as far as recovery, right? And check this out, man. I need to, get honest, man. And I need to tell you how crazy I think sometimes. And when you're in recovery, man, people kind of relate to, crazy shit going through your mind, right? Because check this out. I'm at my dad's house, right? And I'm helping him put a TV together. And I had the opportunity to share with my wife that anytime my mother says to me, your dad, she just mentioned the word dad, my skin crawls, right? Because I remember as a kid, he didn't want nothing to do with me, man. So recovery was necessary, right? I needed to learn how to get past that shit, right? So listen, I ain't done yet, right? Because I'm over there and I'm putting this TV together for him and I'm putting this stand together and I'm remembering the feelings that I felt when my mom said, your dad, and the thought crossed my mind, I need to sucker punch him. Check this out. If all that I done been through with the 20-some year, 21 years plus, and to still to go through those type of feelings, man, and all that shit will come up, man, cause check this out, when my mom would say, my dad, I think about how he treated me as a kid. He would never come to none of my sport events. He would always beat on my mother, man. And I would say up under my breath, he ain't my motherfucking father. Excuse my language, man. I'm just trying to express myself in some of the stuff that I go through, man. And that makes it real clear why recovery is necessary. But check it out, man. I get up in here, right? And I'm real hungry for this thing, right? And I remember the first sponsor, I said, be careful who you ask to help you, because everybody ain't trying to help you. And maybe they trying to help you. They just trying to help you in your own way. And they might not be able to give you the help that you need. Because I had a guy, man, I asked this guy to sponsor me, right? And I remember I was in the halfway house. And that year it was a blizzard. And I remember walking to the meeting. And I remember him being impressed with that. He said, man, I ain't worried about you. You ain't going to use. You'll walk to the meeting in the blizzard. But man, that ain't it, Jack. If you suffer from the dis-ease of addiction, recovery is necessary, man. Some things has got to happen. Some changes has got to happen so your thinking will change. So when you think about sucker punching your dad, you know it's nothing but the disease of addiction, always checking in, trying to see if you're ready to check out. I'm not buying into it. I'm not checking out, Jack. Look, check it out, man. I came in here and I got real busy with the step process, right? And check it out. At that point, our literature talks about the disease is arrested at some point and recovery is then possible. Right? But check this out. If recovery gets arrested means to capture and hold briefly. Probably everybody in here, probably at least 50% of the people at this convention can understand how it is to be arrested. I've been arrested several times. But at some point, I make bail and I get out. So even through the step process, recovery begins to happen but all of a sudden, I arrest the disease of addiction, but all of a sudden it bails his ass out. And it's ready to attack my ass in any way that it can. That's why it is necessary, right? Like, check this out. I don't just have this here now because I'm sharing. What I understand is about when the recovery brings about this, it arrests the disease, and arrested means to capture and hold briefly. That means I need to continue to do the work, Jack. The disease will check in when you're working. Imagine what it's going to do when you ain't doing no work. You'll find yourself cussing people out. And then you got to go back and make amends. Steph says, probably admit when you're wrong. Find myself not doing that as much if I'm constantly working. Man, I have been through so many issues up in here, man, because, recovery be happening, Jack. You be putting like 100% in the recovery piece, and a lot of different things begin to happen. Life begins to change, right? But then every time I slack up on the work, the disease, it's always there anyway. But then it comes even harder, right? Comes even harder, right? Now check this out. Talking about the doing the work, and all of a sudden some things that's happening, man. I begin to get rid of some stuff. I'm talking about a 4-step inventory, right? You're putting that stuff out, right? And you make way for God to jump down inside and start doing the surgery of the spirit that happens through the steps. But like, check this out. Sometimes still, man, those ugly defects want to get in the way, because check this out. Like I got an issue with my son. And the issue that I've had with my son, he would not respond as much as I would reach out, man, and try to love him and be there for him, right? But listen, my prayer has been that not only does God help me to build a relationship with my blood son, but also my stepkids. And I don't even like to use the word step, because when I was brought up, there wasn't no step joint in that house. Wasn't no step. You either my dad or you ain't. So anyway, my son, right? I've been making all this effort, trying to make things right with him. Like basically begging him, man, calling him, and he won't respond, and I'm calling him, he won't respond, and I'm calling him, he won't respond. And then it's something about when you start to hurt, then you want to surrender. I don't know about y'all, but it seems like sometimes, man, because of defects of character, I want to control something. I know I want my son in my life, man, and like I'm doing everything and nothing is happening, man. He is not responding. He ain't trying to hear nothing I'm talking about. He ain't even picking up the phone. About 2 months ago, Bob knows, because I remember calling Bob, saying, listen, Bob, I just got a call from my son's girlfriend. She said, Kenny, what you doing? But I need to back up for a minute, right? Because through all the effort that I was trying to make to get in a relationship with my son, when it started to hurt because he wasn't responding, then is when I dropped down on my knees. God, please help me. God, I'm turning it over to you. I'm done with it, man. I can't do it no more. I got to give it to you. It's something about the point of surrender, Jack. Because right after the surrender piece happened is when she called and said, Kenny, what you doing? I called Bob, I called Steve. I said, listen, man, I got that service commitment, but check this out. Went through the step process, when you realize that your ego can kind of like take a back seat and God is in control anyway, the meeting going to go on without you. It can go on without you. I said, listen, I got the call from my son's girlfriend. They're on their way over. Either I'm going to be late to the meeting or I won't be there at all. Bob said, handle your business, man. We got this. And my son and his girlfriend and the grandkids come to the house. And we sitting down and we kicking it and we hanging out like nothing ever happened. And I said, I'm so grateful. I'm talking to myself, right? I said, I'm so grateful that this is happening. I ain't going to question nothing. I'm just going to enjoy the moment that God done answered the prayer, man. And so occasionally we hanging out, occasionally we texting, occasionally we talking about, we expressing the love. And I remember we had a function, and him and his girlfriend agreed to come to the function. And my son says to me, he said, Dad, we need to talk. And see, forever, man, I was a kid who my parents, I wasn't allowed to say how I felt. The parents did the talking. You did the listening. If you did any talking, you're allowed to get smacked in your mouth. You can't talk about how you feel. Feelings, what? I'm the man around here. That's the kind of attitude he had, but then he still didn't check this out. I ain't tell y'all this part. He didn't want nothing to do with me, man. Didn't even want me to call him Dad. So anyway, my son says we need to talk. And so because of the way that I was brought up, right, I would always say to my son, I said, man, listen, because I knew something was wrong. I kind of knew what was wrong, right? And sometimes I wasn't for sure if I knew exactly what was going on, because a lot of times we'll think we know something. How many times do you think you know something and y'all know what I'm saying? Anyway, we sit down and we talk, because he said we need to talk. And he said to me, he started blaming all the things that had happened with his children. He blamed me being the reason for why he hadn't been there for his kids. Right? But I'm watching the whole time while he's there for his kids. Right? So what I began to be in touch with is that he's actually in the midst of blaming me for what was happening in his life, but everything was good in his life from far as what I can see. But you know what? Check this out, Jack. Because recovery, doing the work up in this camp, I'm listening to him blaming me, but it ain't about me letting him know he's blaming me. It's about me what? Taking responsibility for my action. That comes from up in here, man. Everything that happened in my life prior to step work, it was your fault. It was your fault. You know what, man? Listen. A lot of people know me around here, man. I had a lot of problems with women. And I didn't have a problem with women. I had a problem chasing women because I was running for me. Right? I'm talking about, man, that self-acceptance pamphlet, I read that joke at least 2 or 3 times a week. Self-acceptance, right? I'm talking about, the pamphlet talks about a lot of the problems we still deal with today in recovery is due to a lack of self-acceptance on a deep level. Right? So like all the women that I hurt, it had nothing to do with them. I take full responsibility because I know it was some shit that was going on inside of me that had nothing to do with them. And I knew in the process of recovery, in the process of staying clean, man, people kill me when they say, just stay clean. Yeah, just stay clean, but try not doing no work. You'll think you might as well be using. So anyway, I knew there was an issue, right? Because listen, I've had nothing but queens, man. God has blessed me with queens, right? Queens in their own right and queens in my eyesight. But check this out. If I got in touch with, if you want to have a queen, you got to learn to be a king. And listen, a lot of times the kid in me will get in the way of the king in me. I say that and I claim the king status because it's because of him. It's because of this who is making me into the person that I call a king. on some days. I'm still, that kid in me will get in the way of the king in me because, listen, I had, not long ago, I kind of spent, I put some money out. And I was saying, you know, it ain't about me putting money out, expecting something. You know that stuff we say. You know, do something without expectations. But for real, I was expecting some shit back. And it didn't come back like I was expecting it. So the kid in me got in the way of the king in me, and now I'm pouting. And when the conversations would come up, I would be real short with the conversations. And I didn't even mention it to the individual because it ain't really about them. I got to the journal piece, right? Because when I start journaling, man, it's like I'm keeping a scope on the disease. I'm constantly keeping a scope on the disease. I'm writing stuff down. As I go through the course of my day and certain feelings that I'm feeling, man, I'm writing it down, right? Because I need to be able to see me on paper. If I don't want, I don't know about anybody else, but when I don't look at me on paper, my conversation, when you ask me how you doing, it's always, I'm great. I'm great. Passing over stuff. I'm great, man. I'm good. Not really dealing with the deep internal stuff that still exists, right? Because recovery don't take everything away immediately. Matter of fact, the literature talks about it eases the pain of living. It just eases the pain of living. It makes it like okay to really be able to go through what you're going through and, you know, go through the feelings that you're going through, but it's all right, right? But anyway, man, I just want to talk a little bit again about because of my experience and because of all the people and all the women that I've hurt, man, and I got in touch with, it ain't really got nothing to do with them. And I needed to continually to keep working on me, kind of watch that shit in my daily activities. So when I start to feel the dis-ease, that I don't start to look for outside stuff to interrupt the marriage with the queen God has blessed me with. I made a promise to her, and I don't want to just say that because she's here, because she know I made a promise to her. I will not screw this up again. I will not. Now, I need to be honest, man. A lot of still, there's thoughts that go through my mind. But when the thoughts go through my mind, I have not lost touch with who I am, what I suffer from, and why I'm in the process of recovering. And why I continue to do the work so there's surgery done on the spirit so it can be a different walk along with the talk. But I just want to say this one more time, man. I want to make this real clear. Doing the work, we arrest the disease of addiction. The word arrest means to capture and hold briefly. So I'm not surprised when it starts to act up again, right? But when it starts to act up again, I keep writing, I keep talking, man. And I want to say, I want to say that I've been talking to my sponsor, man. But I got an issue with sponsorship still, right? See, my sponsor, man. My sponsor died over a year ago. And man, that tore me out the frame, Jack. And I got another sponsor, but I'm big on sponsorship. I'm loyal to my sponsor. I know I need to be guided, man, because I know what I deal with. I know the mind that's controlling me, man. especially when I lighten up on the step piece, when I lighten up on the journaling, when I lighten up on keeping a scope on the disease in me and watching my every move and my every thought, because thoughts usually become actions. And so I got a problem, man, because when I call my sponsor, he don't call me back, man. And sponsorship is absolutely necessary. I need to be guided in this thing, man. I don't care about the time. I love the time I got, don't get me wrong, but I still need the help, man. I still need the help. Now, I haven't shared it with my guys yet, man, because it's so important for me to let them know that I'm sponsored, because if your sponsor ain't got a sponsor, you got a fool for a sponsor. It's just that simple. But it's hard for me to let go of the Philadelphia connection, man, because they gave me so much, man. It's just hard for me to let go, man. But listen, I'm responsible, like my man said, I'm responsible for my own recovery. If I'm not getting a response from him, I need to keep making the effort, though. Because, I don't know about y'all, man, but I remember that I would give up on some shit. If the shit didn't work my way, I would give up on it. If it don't work my way, this ain't for me. So I need to keep making the effort, and I need to watch what I say to him on the message that I leave. Because look, our experience is the best teacher, right? Because when I sponsor guys, man, I would have guys that I would listen real close to the message they leave, and they would say, "Oh, sponsor, I'm just checking in, and I'll call you back another time." I may not call them right away because what they said in the message, that they'll call me back another time. So I need to watch the message that I'm leaving. Maybe that's why my sponsor ain't called me back. I might have said, well, I'll call you another time. But anyway, man, that's a real big struggle of mine, Jack, is sponsorship. I'm afraid, real afraid, that I may have to get another sponsor. So I'm going to keep that piece in prayer, because, if I pray and I meditate, I'll always get the answer that I need. And sometimes it ain't the answer that I want. Matter of fact, my prayer is always, God, let it be your will that's done, but also, God, help me to have acceptance for whatever your will is. You ever prayed for something and it didn't go your way, and now you want to take it back because God didn't answer it the way you want to answer it? Maybe y'all ain't been through that. I know I have, regularly. So now it's about, God, help me to have acceptance for whatever your will is. I want to get back to the topic just for a minute, right? Because, if we suffer from the dis-ease of addiction, and recovery has arrested the disease, and maybe some people ain't even had a chance to embark into the step piece yet. I don't know. I don't know your experience. I don't know your story. But I do know this. When we accept that we suffer from the disease of addiction and recovery is necessary, some shit has happened and recovery is necessary, then the surgery of a spirit is going to be a must, because what I found through my step work, man, is all the stuff that I've done in the midst of chasing, man, I really damaged my spirit, Jack. And so there was a necessary for surgery to be done on the spirit, and that necessity continues, because the disease is only arrested meaning to be captured and held briefly, means it's going to wake back up. I'm going to keep coming. I'll pass. That's all I got.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please help us improve our ranking so others can find us by putting a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or your favorite podcast index. Nawpod is ad-free thanks to the folks supporting the show with $1 or more per month. If you enjoy listening, you can join them by going to nawpod.xyz and looking for the donate link. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.